Hi there, I'm Mahibi, the C Coach, and welcome back to part one of the coaching approach for successful assignments. We are still in the key considerations in the pre-move stage of an assignment, and let's take a look at what we have covered so far and what we are covering in today's video. So we have just covered the exploration of what's happening at the pre-move stage. And today we are now going to look at defining what's important and what are the next steps around that. So we are now looking at defining what's important and what's the next steps. And so we're now at this stage where the employee and the organization are proactively and consciously buying into this decision that this assignment is right for this particular individual. Both parties are accountable for it, they're owning it, and they're aligned in principle at how this feels good against their values and their priorities. We are now exploring the next steps thereafter. What's next for the individual and the business in terms of their considerations at this stage of the pre-move? Still keeping the well-being and the mental health or the overall coaching approach at the heart of the process. So firstly, we're back exploring values, but this time between various dynamics and relation bridges between the organisation. So the first one is aligning the values between the individual and the team in their home country. Why is this important at this stage? It's important when we have a full coaching lens on this. We want our person to go on assignment and feel supported by their colleagues at home, and they're feeling connected. Because fast forward to the end of assignment when they're repatriating, we want our colleagues at home to have been an active participant in the end-to-end process. We will need them when we look at setting objectives to keep the individual connected to their home function. And it's important for securing an easier integration on repatriation. Secondly, we're looking at values alignment between the individual and the destination, function, and teams. Seems straightforward, but we want them to be focused, aspirational, and pragmatic so that they could be overarching goals, and also we can base some objectives based in the first 100 days, 6 months, first year, and so on, because we have established the values dynamic between the individual and the destination, function, and teams. So we're providing a framework of reference to flex out and an opportunity to be agile within this particular part of the process as time goes on. And lastly, we're also looking at values between the individual and the organisation. Now, our coaching approach up until this point is based on strong alignment so far within this particular relationship dynamic. And it's just understanding that if there are any further gaps felt by the individual, we're just doing some checks and rebalances on how we're feeling in terms of assurance and confidence that moving forward still feels good. We've already talked about defining needs in the previous video. So we focused on imminent basic needs to make an informed decision. And as a coach, we are looking ahead now with the employee to get a sense of what a great integration in the new part of the business in destination might look and feel like. We want the individual to feel supported. We want them to feel welcomed, valued as quickly as possible, reinforcing that this was a good decision without time for doubt to creep in. Exploring and defining what that is can be different to every employee. An example of what could be a good tangible outcome here is for some individuals to have meetings that are already booked in the diary so they can hit the ground running, ready to meet and be greeted by colleagues. Another example could be shadowing a colleague who might also then be an informal buddy, an opportunity to ask questions or share any concerns or worries about work culture or perhaps even the geographical and national culture that they have moved into. We are touching on again the need for confidence and assurance throughout the process, that the individual can trust the organisation, that they can communicate their needs without judgment as to why they might need this particular desire or need to be fulfilled. So we are looking for, by both parties, a welcomed curiosity to understand and a welcomed curiosity to be supported. Once there's alignment of the needs, it can then form part of the development objectives within the 100-day plan, which we'll look at in the next part 2. We want these development objectives to be visible and to be made more tangible through use of good success measures. We don't want to overcomplicate it, but with our coaching approach, we want them to have clarity, focus, and accountability. This, in turn, is building the employee's confidence. And the business is advocating on behalf of the individual, the things, the needs, the desires that are important for them, but it's also safeguarding and protecting around their return on investment. So the need here to put in effort is by both parties, and the benefits and the rewards are felt by both. So let's put our coaching approach hat on again and look at some reflective questions. Grab your pen and paper and let's go through them. How do you capture feedback? What worked well? What can be improved? And what should be stopped across all assignments to create best practices? How do you keep a connection between the home team and the employee through the assignment? How do you set objectives from the start that relate to timeframes across the assignment process? How do you ensure accountability on behalf of the organisation to support the individual in relation to these objectives? What tools, mechanisms, and measures are in place to plan for smooth assimilation? And how is this built into your current policies and what's missing? And what can easily be integrated? What are quick wins to support the employee? And what's needed to amend the process? Coming back to our small and big projects, what's needed in terms of wider collaboration from the business and also potentially sign off. I'm Mahibi. Thank you for joining me in part 1.3, defining what's important and the next steps. And I'll see you in the next video where we'll be exploring what a great outcome looks like.